51. That is how many weeks we've been doing this show. 1 week from today, June 8th of 2021, we'll be celebrating our first anniversary of the More Than Philly Sports Network. With that being said, how is everybody doing today? And welcome back to the show. We know last week we were not necessarily here all that much as our schedules clear up as we move into the summer. Please stay tuned and get the popcorn because it's going to be a fun summer of debating. We have a lot to break down. We have the NBA playoffs. We have some hockey playoffs going on, of course. We got the Olympics coming up this summer. We got a lot in the PGA, a lot in the golf world, and, of course, Major League Baseball. Yes, the Philadelphia Phillies. We will, at some point, have to talk about them. I'm sorry to bring them up. But with that being said, as always, joined alongside my co-host, Gavin Toney. 7 days from now will be 1 year of doing this show beside you. We are overdue to have one in person, but we've been having a great time with it. I know it's been a little bit of up and down as far as how much time we've had to do it, but every opportunity that we find to be here, we are here. We break it down. We bring the heat. We bring the fire every single day. Gavin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Zach. Listen, I can't believe it's been almost a year already. It felt like just last year we were just plotting on the start. You know, Zach, we went from the bootleg version where the not so great software, where I was on a school laptop and sitting behind an orange wall. Now I actually use my desk. And Zach, I mean, we done it all, and we also started in a time where there was no sports. How do you start a talk show with no sports, Zach? And we're based on that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you run with a topic and you run with it and you talk about it. And then we had some sadly real world issues to help us go along by talking about it. But Zach, I can't believe it's been a year already. And yes, we are due for in-person one, and we'll have to work on that. We are the final stretch of our high school career, so that's pretty fun, I guess.
Quite interesting to say the least. It's been a hell of a year. We talked about it on New Year's. We broke it all down back then. It's just been an interesting time, and things are getting back to normal at a very fast rate. People aren't wearing masks in stores anymore. Granted, most of them are vaccinated. I do agree with that. I do feel that those who are comfortable enough to take them off, they should. Cases have been plummeting in the United States. In our region, they have been down. These are good things. Seeing people back in crowds, you should not be scared of that. Anybody out there, for that sake, you should be proud. It demonstrates the accomplishments of scientists and frontline workers and researchers. This is great. Full crowd, these are great things. These are nothing to look to shame for. You should not be sitting here saying, shaking my head, we're still in a pandemic. We are still in a pandemic, Gavin. We talked about this a few months ago and things started opening up, saying the pandemic is still here. That it is, but it's at a much less severe level. We are still in it. It is a lot different than it was in the fall, though, and the winter. And unfortunately, we lost a lot of lives during this. And Gavin, I don't know when that day comes, if it's this summer, where the United States officially rules this pandemic, quote unquote, over, where you do get pops-ups of cases, but for the most part, it's a level that is very much controllable. But we will have to sit here and break it down because we're still living in history. This is an insane time in history. I was just thinking about the other day how crazy some of the years in the past have been, how you have so many events concurrent with each other. We had the world shut down for a period of time last year. This has been crazy. Everyone who's fought through it, congratulations, you're here. One quote that I want to start us off with today before we get into it. You have been through your worst day. Every time that you've had your worst day, and it happens, and for us, all of us, most likely our worst day is still ahead of us, but any time that you felt you have your worst day, you've gotten through it, and you're here today, and I think that should be a word of inspiration. We have a lot to talk about today. Of course, on the sports side, we'll touch a little bit in the tennis world. We're going to break that down here. We'll open up with that in just a minute. But before that, Gavin, I'm excited to get to it. How about you?
I'm excited, Zach. I know we got into it a little bit this morning at our own little breakfast. I don't know if it was influenced by the fans around us or was it the comments that you made this morning? I don't know. We'll break it down a little bit later. But no, Zach, listen, it's been a hell of a year. It's not over. Ladies and gentlemen, go get vaccinated. I mean, I'm not the one to push that message out there, but Zach, I was telling you this. I think after my first shot, I said it's like this club, and you realize what the stuff that you could do more safely when you get a shot. Zach, I can go see my grandparents a little bit more safely after Saturday. After Saturday will be my second shot, and then go through the rough 24 hours, and then next I'll be good to go. But it's like a club. It's like this little club of its own, and you could tell, and it's nice. It's a nice feeling, especially it's the right time to do it. Summertime's coming. It's like I want to go on a vacation. I know you're going to go on a vacation somehow, some way, and ready to have some fun. But let's get into it. I'm excited.
I heard drink water after your vaccination. Make sure you stay hydrated. Fight through it.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, no, I heard. But look, for everybody out there, obviously the choice is up to you. At this point in the pandemic, the United States continues to progress and lead the world in vaccinations and continue to show why the United States really has a good opportunity to be the number one country in the world to be able to do this and be the leader, help out those who are in need, but of course take care of us first. And again, we can't emphasize how crazy of a year it's been from every aspect of life. It's been crazy. Life is beginning to go back to normal for a lot of us. It is really fully returning to normal. Thanks for joining us for the ride. Gavin, we get to do a sports talk show when the world's normal. How about that? Coming up this summer. It's going to be pretty normal.
We're going to have a lot of things to talk about, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm so excited. We have normal playoffs as normal as they can be. Almost full capacity crowds in most areas. But we are going to start off today across the water in France. Of course, the French Open is this week for the women's tennis world. Naomi Osaka, phenomenal tennis player. And she was known for defeating Serena Williams at 19 years old, right? Came out of nowhere, out of Japan. And she recently had come out and spoken. I mean, she's been very vocal during the entire Black Lives Matter movement. She's been very vocal about a lot of things like that. But she recently came out and criticized the tennis world for having them answer questions from the media. And I get both sides of this. We'll talk about that in a minute, but we're going to focus more on the reasons for her withdrawing from the tournament. We'll get to that also in a minute. But did not want to answer questions, refused it, got fined $15,000 for that. And again, we'll break that down here in just a minute. Then decided to withdraw, wrote a very heartfelt message on her Instagram citing her mental health and just taking a step away from the game. I feel different about this. I do. I have some takes I would call relatively unpopular, but at the same time, I have the sympathy I have. For starters, mental health is no joke. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I will start with that. Anybody out there can suffer from bipolar. They can suffer from depression. They can suffer from any of those kind of issues, honestly. And if there's only one message that I can hit home to anybody watching right now, there's nothing to be ashamed of about it. You have to come out. You have to talk about it. I know that's tough for a lot of people. You have to be open with your friends. Unfortunately, for suicides, that's something that really hits home for a lot of people, and that can tie back to depression. That can tie back to issues like that, and sometimes the question of, "Damn, we were too late." Unfortunately, that comes up a little too much for people, and it can ruin other people's lives, other than those unfortunately who fall victim to it. And I think for a lot of us, the question is, how can we address others? And I'll be honest with you, you just have to have a conversation. You have to sit down with people. They say check in with the quiet kid. It's not always them. I read a very heartfelt message about a local student, unfortunately, just a few weeks ago. And I mean, this stuff hits home. That's ultimately the end repercussion for suppressed depression when you push it aside. And so the one message I'm going to start with, because I do have a few unpopular beliefs following this, but we'll break it down. We'll have the conversation and get on the same page for everybody to understand different perspectives. It's nothing that you want to suppress. If you have mental health issues and you need to step away from something, do it. Take your time to reset. You need to do what's best for you. You have fans, you have family, you have no one to impress. You have to focus on yourself. That is my key takeaway from this situation. I'll get into some more thoughts in a minute. But Gavin, just touching base, Naomi Osaka withdrawing from the French Open, citing some mental health reasons to take some time away from the game and get some things figured out as she does.
Zach, I'm a bandwagon tennis fan. All right, I roll with Serena Williams as number one, and I roll with Naomi Osaka as number one as well. Zach, I can't. It's a win-win situation for me. When this was first brought up to me, my first instinct wasn't from a fan perspective. It was from a person's perspective, and I was all supported, and I still am to this day. And Zach, we saw with Kyrie Irving. The media is a horrible, horrible place sometimes, and it's crazy because Zach, this is my field. I'm going to be part of the media, but it's a horrible place sometimes because everything you do that's in the public eye gets criticized, even sometimes in a good way, gets criticized in a bad way. And you're talking about a person, Naomi Osaka, who doesn't really like to do public speaking. It's like I was watching a couple of interviews with her because once again, it's like I love her, all right, and one of my favorites. But she said public speaking, I get nervous, and that's not one of my favorite things. And what she was talking about actually makes sense. I mean, I understand it when she says, I don't feel like talking to the media because, for my mental health. And in all honesty, Zach, if the media, if us, not saying that we are, but if the media wasn't so critical about every little word that comes out her mouth or a mouth of so-called Kyrie Irving or any one of those athletes, I don't think we would have this problem today. But I don't like the fact that people are being fined for doing something that they don't have to do. Like we saw with Marshawn Lynch, he said, I'm on here so I don't get fined. Sometimes some people are private people who really don't like talking, and that's okay. But if you are private and you don't like talking, then yes, I can understand fine. But when you have someone come out and saying about mental health and I don't understand how I wouldn't say is it the tennis union or the Grand Slam. They basically trying to get all the Grand Slams, the higher Grand Slams, to basically gang up on her and basically tell her she's wrong. And I don't really like that because, like you said, you point out, mental health is no joke, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not afraid. It's not a bad thing. If you, I mean, to be honest, it's hard to point out and say that you need help or that you're suffering from this because, in all honesty, ladies and gentlemen, we all suffer from something. We all do, whether it's to a Zach, we've seen certain heavy degrees and we've seen slight, and then you had the mild. But when it comes to Naomi Osaka, I applaud her 100%. Zach, I'm a little hurt that I'm not going to get a chance to watch her play, but I know it's like what LeBron said last year. It's bigger than basketball. Zach, this is bigger than tennis. But I like how it sparked the conversation about, do we need to look at the media and how we, portray ourselves and how we basically force them to talk. If they don't want to talk, they shouldn't have to. That's just my opinion.
And yes, look, to a certain point, I agree with you. I would say to the extent of mental health and taking the break when you need to, in some other categories, I get it. I agree 100%. And for her, I wish her the best. I hope she can get the help that she needs to support. More importantly, not always do you necessarily need help. People have a tendency to figure things out on their own, but with support, it makes it better. So it's not always necessarily help. And if she does need help, I hope she can get it. But I think the support is the bigger thing, at least from my personal experience. But look, everybody goes through something, and so here's where the misconceptions come in. This is maybe where some fans kind of lose their touch with players. At the end of the day, I mean, these are players making a lot of money, and for a lot of fans, apparently it gives them the excuse to dehumanize these players. We've seen it with fan interactions with players in the past. And now we see it with recent comments on players. Just because a player or someone is financially secure or is paid a significantly more amount of money doesn't take away their emotions, doesn't take away the humane factor. With that being said, there are people who suffer with depression. There are people who suffer with mental illness who still go to work every day. And so this is an area that does get controversial. And for those who might disagree, I apologize, but I want to share my perspective. I think that there are a lot of people who make very low wages who do fight through mental illnesses who don't have that financial flexibility to be able to take off work like she does. She comes from a place of privilege and she earned it by being very good at something and being very talented at it. And for her, I wish her the best. But at the same time, I'm not sitting here saying she should persevere through it. She should persevere through it, but everybody has their breaking point. That's true. Everybody's got their breaking point. With that being said, when people do criticize her a little bit and say, she should fight through that, maybe they're coming from because they've had similar experiences where they feel depressed, they don't want to get out of bed, but they got bills to pay. And the bills are going to keep coming. And so for those fans, I'm just trying to understand from their perspective, kind of play devil's advocate here. I'm just trying to understand from their perspective, hey, look, maybe they feel this way. Maybe they feel that she's privileged. Maybe she shouldn't talk about it. At the end of the day, everybody has a right to talk about what they want to, especially when people struggle with mental illness. For people out there who do struggle with mental illness, I know it's not as easy as saying fight through it, persevere, do this, do that. At the same time, we should encourage those who do struggle with depression, who do struggle to still want to persevere and fight through it, but at the same time, know when to stop and know when to get that support, when to reach out and seek that kind of help. My personal opinion, I try to kind of keep that off this show. I try to just kind of, except for the GOAT debate, of course, Gavin knows that substantially. But for us, just trying to keep it down the middle. I support her 100%. She has the financial flexibility to do it. But don't be surprised at the criticism because there are people who have had different experiences who might not understand your perspective. And then finally, on the media part, it is part of your job to do it. If you decline it, you have to face the consequences of fines. I understand social anxiety is also no joke. At the same time, I wish that we don't get rid of the media interviews, but maybe we clean it up a little bit. Asking the same questions over and over again is kind of redundant and unnecessary. At the same time, interacting with good people in the media, I think with Zoom interviews over there kind of lacks that human interaction. Maybe that's one of the reasons that she's not a big fan of how the current interview process is going. But there's just some food for thought on this whole perspective.
Well, let me ask you a question. So you talk about, I don't disagree with you because there's I mean, the average person does have to go to work. I agree with you with that. But does that average person have to answer questions after everything she does or after everything they do? I mean, Zach, I mean, if you went to, let's say you worked at Giant, I don't see people at Giant coming up to you with cameras and with 1,000 microphones, asking, asking, oh, well, did you make the right call today on the bread basket? Did you weigh it? Did you weigh, like that's the difference. Like I understand the same. I get it. Financially, she could take a week or 3 weeks off and be cool, and these people wouldn't be. It's like I get that. But at the same time, there's a level. There is same thing with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan reached his breaking point back in the documentary. It's like, you remember when his dad passed away and all these rumors were being spread. That stuff gets to you, man. That really does. Especially when the story's not true, and when you're like the face, right? I don't want to say she's the face of tennis, but I mean, and when it comes to women's,
one of the best tennis players in the world. I don't know what she is exactly in the world rankings, but I would say
I think she was two. I think she was two.
Top three, okay. Yeah,
so, but when you're two, right? When you're two, and Zach, in my personal opinion, arguably one as of right now, you don't think the camera's on her 24/7? I mean, after a while, that gets annoying. I mean, Michael Jordan said it best. He's like, sometimes in the documentary, he said, being Michael Jordan sometimes is hard because as soon as he wakes up, as soon as he leaves, there's a million people wanting to see him. Everybody wants to see Michael Jordan, just like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant said he always played, even though his body was hurting. He always played for that kid in section 480 with the highest seats, because you never know when they're, they're always doing it for something. But at the same time, they are humans too. They are regular people. They deserve time off. They deserve understanding. And this concept, the media definitely needs to be clean. I agree. Zach, is it fair to sit there and ask him the same question 1,000 times? No, it's not. I mean, look at Kevin Durant. Everybody gets mad at Kevin Durant because when he bashes out the media, when they ask him for the 60th time in 30 games about his free agency choice before leaving Golden State, it was only 30 games in, Zach. So my question for you is, it's a level of differency. You know what I mean? Like, it's a level of differency.
Absolutely. But again, the bitter reality is it is part of the job. It's in the contracts that you sign when you agree to this. And while it might be tougher, you get compensated for it. That's just the truth. That's business. From the emotional side, yeah, you're right. Let's stop asking the same damn question every single time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's it. I mean, the president of the United States has to answer questions. The governors have to answer questions. That's kind of part of their job. You get compensated for it quite well, especially if you're good at tennis. For a lot of athletes, I'm sure that a lot of them wish they didn't have to contribute to that other part of it. But that's part of the game. It's part of what gets fans involved. It's part of what gets watches, what gets views. Again, maybe they can work with Naomi to figure out a way to clean it up. What are some of the issues? Maybe she has social anxiety by default, which – a lot of people in this country, a lot of people in the world do deal with that on a daily basis. And so for those people, I commend you for having the courage in those circumstances to go out and be able to do what you need to. She's persevered through this. She said she's been dealing with it for a couple of years since her success started getting turned up. And some people just can't handle that kind of pressure. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you weak as a human being because you can't handle being under that spotlight in those situations. She beat Serena on the biggest stage, talk about being under the spotlight, but she doesn't want to answer a few questions pre or post game. I mean, it can't be a personal choice because it's part of the contract, but there are solutions, and that's kind of my bottom line with this situation.
I got a solution. I got a solution right here. Instead of asking, and this goes for all sports. Like I'll take football for example. Carson once played a game on Sunday, right? He wins, he loses. You ask him questions, right? Is it necessary to ask him questions on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? And then
it's in the contract.
I get it's in the contract. But damn, you play one game. I mean, she plays one match. Like, all right, yes, tennis you play more than multiple every day or and some.
But it adds up to pretty close to football playing time.
But I mean, damn, I mean, at the same time, like if you're asking Carson Wentz a question on Monday, or excuse me, on Sunday, is it necessary to have to talk to him on Monday? I mean, Victory Monday. I know they get Victory Monday. I know they get day off, but and especially it's the same damn question. Oh well, Carson Wentz, you didn't play the game. I gotta do better. Like after a while, now I see why people get irritated with people like us because it's the same damn question day in and day out. If I sit here and applaud Naomi Osaka because you get answered. Well, how's your backhand today? It's fine. I mean, what else you want me to say? I'm exquisite. That's why I always laugh. And it's like I know we gotta move on, but I always laugh at this interview from Russell Westbrook, and they asked Russ, "What did you do on your day off?" And he said,
"Is that where it's like what you talking about, or is that
no? This is something different." He said, they said, Russ, what do you? I know what you're talking, but this is. They were like, Russ, did you watch anything? He's like, nah. He's like, well, what did they do? What did you do on your day? He's like, I showered. He was basically giving the rundown his day. But the thing is, it's like the media. That's what happens. The media always asks the same questions over again. Zach, that's why I'm kind of glad I'm not in that realm of the game where they're asking me questions because I'll lose my mind. I'll be honest with you, Zach. If you ask me the same question 50 times, the next time you ask me, I might put my hands on you. I mean, Zach. I mean, it gets old after a while.
Well, that it does, and I get that, and I think for the interviewer's perspective, a lot of the time they're asking the questions to keep themselves relevant. They're asking the question, frankly, to keep themselves going to these interviews and being able to do it. But I don't know how this is fixed. I think that this is a conversation between players who are more outspoken, like Naomi, and the players' associations. Until further notice, it is in the contracts. But I think that if it truly is an issue, if what we're bringing up today, talking about not just the mental aspect, but just the repetitive questions, the waste of time, things like that. If that's an issue that can be addressed, it's going to have to be. But other than that, I mean, the Players Association, the players themselves, these are conversations that are going to have to be made.
And real quick, Zach, I just want to address it real quick. And you never know. And you can't personally pick out someone with, that's suffering from something. But, I mean, it's like, I'll be honest. I mean, sitting at home every day of senior year, I felt some type of way, especially because of the rear end of it. I start questioning myself, am I doing this right? Days start to get longer because you're upset about how the day is going and you're predicting, but you always can talk to somebody. Zach, I know me, you had numerous talks where it was at lunch or, we called one another and we talked, but you never know. Sometimes it could be your own friend, your own co-host. It's never bad to ask someone how they're doing, but don't ask in a way of how you're doing and go on. Ask like, are you serious? Like, how you doing? How you doing? Zach, I know we talk about mental health. It's a big thing going on in the world. And like we always say for everything else, the talk continues. Zach, this is not going to be the last time we discuss this.
No, without a doubt, I think we owe it to anyone who watched our show to talk about it sometimes. I think that mental health, it's a complex subject to explain how people feel by default sometimes when they do have depression or when they suffer from other mental health issues. You can't. It's not a one word solution. It's not a one state solution. It's really honestly it's a complex issue. And again, awareness is just the first part of it. It's the first part of addressing it. Finding out some root causes is obviously a big thing. And I think for a lot of people, honestly, my gut feeling with a lot of human beings, we as humans are strong enough to get through these things, but we need the support to get there. And that is more. We talk about help all the time. Help and support is what we say. And I'm all for the help. I'm all for people talking about the medications that doctors have researched or therapy or things like that. Also, on top of all that, as important, if not more important, is the support. We have things going on. Everybody's got things going on in their life. I don't always need to sit down. You don't need to sit down with a therapist and be told that it's going to be all right sometimes. Sometimes it works. And I'm not disrespecting that. But sometimes people have things going on where all they need is someone to reach out and say, how's it going? I'm sure there have been tons of times in everybody's life. We're sitting there, stressful day at work, and nobody has, called you and said, how was your day, or do you want to talk? It can go a long way. Check in on your friends. It's not just because you're being selfish and you want to prevent the devastation of a friend who unfortunately could possibly commit suicide at the worst extreme, because that is the most extreme of what could be a person that's depressed. It's more for the conversation, the human interaction that you can just check in with someone. And you can know they're doing all right, because at the end of the day, everybody learns this one way or another. You learn what's important to you. You learn you don't got to dress up to impress people. You learn you don't got to do certain things, at cool or whatever, that the whole middle school, early high school kind of phase of things that fizzles out over time, you learn that. And so in all that time, my one thing is just, have some close friends that you can talk to about this stuff, because, Gavin, we know it firsthand. It's important. It's super important to be able to have that conversation, be able to know that there are people you can check in with and touch base with when things are going wrong. If you can text someone, hey, can I call you? And about 15 seconds later, they don't even respond to you. They just start calling you. That's how you know you got some good friends that you can chat with.
But also, too, Zach, I know there's more going on in the sports world, but I just want to say this final thing. It's not bad to disappear, ladies and gentlemen. And what I mean by that is I do this a lot. When I'm not having the best of days, I shut it down. I don't answer my phone to nobody unless it's through text. I don't answer Snaps, Instagram DMs. I don't answer my Twitter DMs. If you really need to get to me, text me, because that's how I know if it's serious or not. But sometimes it's good to, to shut down and actually just focus on you. Zach, I mean, this is one of my strategies. I shut my phone down, and I just let my mind run free. I think, and I watch TV, and then it's like a restart, and then I get ready for the next day. But I will say one thing. It needs to stop raining in PA. It really does, because those are the worst days. It really, come on, man.
It's been dry. My allergies were horrible. The rain was actually really good for us, but you're right. 45 degrees and rainy in May. No bueno.
Nope, no sir.
All right, sure. With that coming up after this, Ben Simmons, detrimental from the free throw line. Is Ben Simmons holding this team back, or is he the reason that they're even in the 1 seed in the first place? Here are our takes after this.
We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode.
Well, it was a close game. They were up 3-0 in the series. Joel Embiid gets hurt in the first half. By the way, he is doubtful for tomorrow. No specific results from the MRI yet. So it looks like they will be playing without Joel Embiid tomorrow. No Davis Bertans either. In Philadelphia, full capacity. Is trouble brewing, or the Sixers going to close it out? We'll get to that in a minute. But before that, last night, 76ers lost. First of all, Ben Simmons has had a very, very Ben Simmons series. Phenomenal defensively. Phenomenal facilitating the offense. Phenomenal.
5 of 16 from free throws, Zach. Come on.
And 5 of 16 with free throws and averaging 14 points a game, which is about his average this season. The things that he does well, people don't pay attention to late in the game. I think that the Sixers are fine, honestly. I'm not worried about Ben Simmons. I am worried that he's not becoming a better free throw shooter over the years. At some point, you have to get better. As much as he practices, you should be getting better at it. But Doc Rivers is right. You're all paying attention to the wrong thing. What do you want to do, bench him? Putting Tyrese Maxey, who's going to stop him on the defensive side. Remember, they had some great defensive stops. Furkan Korkmaz almost single-handedly put them back in the lead.
Furkan missed.
And he had missed free throws as well. He's not a good free throw shooter, Ben Simmons isn't. What do you expect? But why were they in that situation? It's because they weren't with their superstar. And B didn't. They win the game. They sweep them. They play Atlanta later this week unless the Knicks find a way to pull a miracle. But now the Sixers are in a situation where they're home in Game 5 and a must-win, in my opinion, because you don't want to go back to Washington down 3-2, up 3-2, with or without Joel Embiid. That's unknown. We don't know how serious this injury is. Now it's looking like it could linger a little bit. I hope it doesn't. But I don't know. Ben Simmons, is he holding the team back? Offensively to an extent, but at the same time, he also is doing things that puts them in this position. We saw how valuable Ben Simmons was when he was out for those 6 games. Even with Embiid in the lineup, they couldn't win a game. So my case continues to stand that Ben Simmons benefits the team more than he doubts the team. But with all that being said, he still could have won this game for the team last night. He didn't. But then again, the expectations were a little unrealistic. He needs to learn how to shoot free throws, though. It's a must as an NBA player, especially the point guard.
First of all, Zach, I just want to get something off my chest. Furkan Korkmaz, you're here for one job. One! Just hit a 3. You're wide open, Zach. Who knows if he hits the 3, we might be singing a different tune. Oh, no. Furkan has to hit the front of the rim. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I don't like Furkan Korkmaz. Haven't saw that. The question is, Ben Simmons holding the team back? Offensively, yes. Defensively, no. Zach, we talked about spacing before. We talked about shooting. Zach, I expressed my concerns about mid-ranges. Zach, I'm not even talking 3-point. I'm talking 15-footers. And you're not doing that. And he's also missing layups too. Zach, that's his go-to. He's missing layups, little floaters, little hook shots. He's missing those. So last night, at some point, now I agree with Doc Rivers. Don't take Ben Simmons out of the game because that's not going to improve nothing. You're going to lose defense. Like, everything he does on defense is phenomenal, and we can't discredit that. It's sadly it's stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. We know. But offensively, I mean, at some point, you gotta make a free throw, Ben. You have to. You have to make a free throw. And it's the fact that he's going 1 for 2. He's not going 2 for 2. Zach, he's 5 of 16. 5 for 16 on free throws.
25%. He's shooting 25%.
25%. That's terrible. Zach, I shoot better than that. And I went to the free throw line about 10 times in the Y League. And guess what, Zach? I at least made 7 out of 10. So I'm 7 for 10 on free throws. But look, sign me, Doc Rivers. But no, when you got a guy in Ben Simmons who's been in the league for a couple years now, he is rookie of the year. Zach, I think he's on the way to win a defensive player of the year. At some point, you have to be like, I have to make shots. If the Philadelphia 76ers want to win a championship, or at least go to a championship, you have to make shots. He's not making shots. All right, now I'll give them a pass last night. They didn't have it energy-wise from the starting five. Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons got in foul trouble. Tobias Harris couldn't never really consistently get it going. And Seth Curry.
Yeah, if Ben doesn't get in foul trouble last night, they probably win that game. If he plays adequate minutes in the third quarter, they probably win that game.
But I mean, Ben Simmons needs to go into the practice facility before practice, shoot 50 free throws, do practice, and then shoot 50 free throws afterwards. Zach, Steph Curry shoots 100 before and 100 after practice, and that's 3-point shots. I'm not asking Ben Simmons to pull from 40 feet, even though that would be a hideous sight because I know it's not going to make nowhere near the rim. But I'm asking for something. You have to hit free throws. Free throws are a key part in the playoffs. Zach, that's the reason why guys like Trae Young, guys like Luka Doncic, guys like Kawhi Leonard, and your best friend Anthony Davis and LeBron, or excuse me, A. Disney and LeMickey, or Anthony Davis and LeBron James, are had a chance to win a couple games in the series because they get every foul call. But free throws are a key part of the playoffs. Like free throws and defense, offensively, I really don't have a problem with Ben Simmons, except for just not being able to shoot mid ranges. And you have Sam Cassell on your team, man. I know you work with Sam Cassell. That's no excuse. Dwight Howard's shooting better than you from the free throw line, and that's Dwight Howard, ladies and gentlemen, of all people.
Yeah, it's a free throw. It's 3 points. Every player on the team should be at least above 75%, in my opinion. 60% even. You're making 2 of 2 more than not. It's bad. It's a situation that we need to identify. But let's talk about Game 5. Let's talk about moving forward. Expect Dwight Howard to start in the lineup. I think if they put Paul Reed over Mike Scott last night, there is a chance they win because he's got a little more energy than Mike. Mike's not really efficient as a player. There's a lot of things that went wrong last night, but Simmons is just a cherry on top. He's a scapegoat. I'm going to avoid doing that. But Game 5, no Embiid, no Bertans. Can the Sixers close it out in Philadelphia with a full crowd for the first time since March of last year?
Of course, because they're going to be energized. You're going to have a full crowd. You don't want to let the home team down. You don't want the city down, Zach, because you know how quick we turn on this team. Without Bertans, you kind of lose the shooting aspect of behind the 3-point. Gafford is having an amazing season. Amazing playoff run series. He had 20 points last night. Zach, the key for tomorrow night for the Sixers is to, one, stop the post. You have to lock in defense like you are a great defensive team. Ben Simmons, you have to make your free throws, and Tobias Harris has to have another amazing game. Zach, he didn't have it. He had 21 last night, but he needs to have one of those. Someone has to step up for Joel Embiid. Someone has to get to the foul line consistently and make shots. I mean, Zach, one of Washington's superstars is having a phenomenal series, and one is building houses with all those bricks. I mean, Zach, Russell Westbrook, 3 of 19 yesterday, right? If I'm correct. He's not shooting the ball well at all this series. All he's doing is getting triple doubles, and they're not really winning games. That's the first one. The Sixers will close out tomorrow in front of everybody, and we'll go from there.
I hope so. There's nothing impressive about this Wizards team. Tobias Harris, yes, needs to show up tomorrow big for this team. With that being said, though, we are going to transition and talk about the other major NBA series is going on, starting with tonight at 7:30 p.m., the Boston Celtics against the Brooklyn Nets. Back in New York, Brooklyn leads the series 3-1. Gavin, does Boston go home tonight, or does Brooklyn, or do they get a chance for a 6th game?
Zach, I heard Jason Tatum has a trip home. He's going to Cancun for a little while. Him and Deuce and his lovely wife. Zach, the Celtics are going home. The game they won, Jason Tatum had 50 points, and he took almost 30 shots. That was without Kemba Walker. That was without Jaylen Brown. Kemba Walker has not showed up at all this year. Jaylen Brown goes down with an injury. Brad Stevens is losing his team, and you're going against an offensive juggernaut that's also kind of great on defense as of late, Zach. The Celtics will go home today. I think Jason Tatum will have a nice game, but it won't be enough.
Yeah, I agree. It's too much talent for that team. They move on. They play the winner of the what series is it? I believe it is the Knicks and Hawks playing Sixers. It'll be the
Miami versus
Miami. Or yeah, it'll be Milwaukee. So the winner that plays Milwaukee, obviously a series that we will all be keeping an eye on. But yeah, let's talk about that next. Milwaukee Bucks, Miami Heat. The Heat got swept. Jimmy Butler stupidly locked in, stupidly swept. Bubble frauds, I guess, whatever you want to call them. 71-day offseason, 72-day offseason. No surprise there. Milwaukee getting the revenge.
They look like they didn't care. Zach, where was Tyler Hero? Where's that meat mug, Zach? Where's this at? Where he was doing it all last year. Where was it? It's not here. Bam Adebayo showed up when needed to. Jimmy Butler, I'm going to lock in. Well, guess what? I guess you're locking your house now? I'm not sure what you're doing. And Zach, Goran Dragic and Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson had a nice game one. Came up short because of a Chris Middleton game winner. But after that, it just never went for the Heat. They got blown out in 2 consecutive games. In Game 4, they looked like they were going to win. And then Giannis and the Bucks flipped the switch. Zach, I guess you could say bubble frauds. I guess you could say that. I don't know what you want to say, but I will say this. They need somebody else. After looking at what I watched Saturday, Zach, they need a third. Victor Oladipo is a nice piece. Zach, he can't stay healthy right now, and he hasn't looked as great since his injury season. They need somebody else. And knowing Pat Riley and knowing the destination, they will be able to track like a big name. Zach, I texted you on Saturday. I said, I think Kawhi Leonard leaves the Clippers and goes to South Beach, but they need somebody else. And ultimately, Zach, Jimmy Butler just never looked like he had it all this year.
Short off season for them. They were the 6th seed. They got swept. The Lakers, another team with a short off season, have been battling injuries all year long. Let's go over to the Western Conference and let's break it down. Let's talk about the Trailblazers Nuggets series. I got to be honest, I don't think I've watched a single game in this series. I've seen it went back and forth a few times. I plan on watching it tonight, 9 o'clock p.m. It's kind of the only – that and the Suns-Lakers series are the only 2 series that are actually competitive right now. Trailblazers Nuggets in Denver tonight. I am going to take Denver. They're going to defend home court. Go to Portland for a must-win for Damian Lillard and the guys in 2 days from now. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win tonight?
Zach, I got see, it's going back and forth. Zach, it was Norman Powell that did it for the Trailblazers on Saturday when he dropped a playoff career high. I don't know. This is tough because you got 2 teams that are good respectively and doing their own thing. Zach, the Nuggets don't have good guard play due to the lack of loss of Jamal Murray, but they have great big men play in Porter and Porter, Gordon, and Jokic. But the guards of Portland can go off at any point. McCollum had 21. Powell had 29. Dame had 10, 8, and 10. Zach, when you're getting production from others, if you're the Portland Trailblazers, that's a scary sight. Zach, I'm going with Portland, and I think they turn it on. I just don't think Jokic and the crew can get a game in tonight. I don't know, Zach. I'm interested in Zach. This is a must-watch series. It's back and forth, literally.
Yeah, that it is. I will say this, though. They're trying to build a team like Golden State. They need a player like, if not Draymond Green, to kind of get over the top. But it'll be a fun one to watch tonight for them in Denver. Next game tonight in Phoenix, 10 o'clock. I'll be up for the whole game. Probably need some caffeine. LeBron James without Anthony Davis. Dennis Schroeder is expected to play. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is likely to play. Los Angeles Lakers, Phoenix Suns. I'm going with Phoenix. I'm putting the hot seat on the Lakers. They'll be going to Los Angeles down 2, facing elimination, but I am going to go with the Suns tonight.
Excuse me. I don't like when you agree with me, especially when it's about your best friend. I really don't like it. Zach, Anthony, what did I tell you in the year? I said Anthony Davis is the key to this team winning. I'm not coming out and saying this because I'm a big Michael Jordan guy. I'm being honest because I watched every game of this series so far. LeBron James does not look like LeBron James. No one is fearing LeBron James this year, or excuse me, in this series. LeBron James has been pretty much average, to be honest. I mean, 20, 25, and 20, and 19 in game one. He's not doing much. He really isn't. Zach, you can make the grin all you want. I'm being honest when I say this. The Lakers are going home in 6, ladies and gentlemen. And if Anthony Davis can't wheel himself together or bandage himself up to go out there and play, it will be ugly. And Chris Paul has his range of motion back. I mean, Zach, and in the words of Shannon Sharp, I'm gonna use it the other way around. You can have LeBron James, Kevin James, and someone else named James. Sons of Six.
Yeah, we'll see how that rolls out. Again, I will take Phoenix tonight. LeBron really can't do it himself. Supporting staff is not all that it really is made out to be. A guy's got to get hot for them tonight, but I'm going to roll with Phoenix before they go back to Los Angeles. The next game in our series is going to be the Hawks and the Knicks tomorrow in New York, Madison Square Garden. Gavin, who are you taking?
I'm taking Trae Young. Julius Randle has not been well at all in this series. Zach, in the first game, he shot 9 of 23. And then in the second game, he did all right, but it's been more Derrick Rose doing the heavy lifting. If you're Julius Randle, if your shot's not working, you got to give the ball up. You got to make, plays for your teammates to be great and be successful. Zach, he's not doing that. Trae Young is going to be motivated going back in the Garden where he was disrespected. I think Trae goes for 40, and the Knicks go home, and that brings a smile to my face.
The Hawks will win, go on to play what we presume to be the Sixers, assuming they beat the Wizards. 2 more series to go through. Grizzlies, Jazz. Jazz took care of business last night, up 3-1. Give me the Jazz in the final game. Grizzlies, good fight, Ja. Thanks for showing up this year. You got some experience now. They'll get you some more help in the offseason, but, the Jazz are just that good.
If Dylan Brooks doesn't get in foul trouble because he was a big factor in game 1, this is a different story. Obviously, Zach, when you get Donovan Mitchell back, you get that star power. And Michael Conley's playing phenomenal this series. It's over. John Morant, it was a nice little game 1 show you had, but I think after that it's pretty much over. It hasn't been close.
And finally, the series everybody has had their head turned on. Mavericks, Clippers. My favorite to come out of the West is the Clippers. They didn't look good in the first 2 games, but they look great since Luka's hurt. I think the Clippers finish up in the next 2 games.
Zach, the key to this series is who can win at home. Neither team has been able to win at home, Zach. Not the Lakers. The Mavericks go into LA and they win 2 straight games. The Clippers come into Dallas and win 2 straight games. Whoever can win at home wins the series.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, series is tied at 2 apiece.
Kawhi's averaged 30 in the last 2 games.
Kawhi's been insane for them, 81 to 106. And then, of course, they play next tomorrow at 10 o'clock. It's going to be interesting. That kind of wraps up all of our series. There's a lot of basketball to be played. It's been great so far. It's been better than great. It's been a really, really fun, exciting series. There's not too much yet, obviously, to be disappointed in or unexpected. The Knicks, of course, a team that kind of shocks everybody. But can't expect much out of New York. With that being said, coming up after this, baseball. Dare I bring it up? The woes of the Phillies. A continuation of failure in an organization that has the 5th most expensive payroll in the league. I predicted this team to make the playoffs this year. They're 5 games back of the Mets, a game and a half back of the Braves, and 4 games under 500, 3-7 in the last 10. Stay tuned.
Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this.
Welcome back here on the More Than Philly Sports Network. We're checking some updates on Joel Embiid, of course, as we talk, but it's still doubtful for tomorrow. We'll talk about it. We'll cover it as well, but Bryce Harper's been out, and it's been a disaster. A lot of injuries for this team. Pitching's been atrocious. Offense, non-existent. And yet they're still somehow in the race for the playoffs. Some other teams in the league, Brewers and Cardinals, currently occupying the wild card spots right now. Not even, honestly. You have the Padres, the Dodgers. A lot of good teams. Like of these 6 teams, 2 of them will not make the playoffs. Cubs, Cardinals, Brewers, Giants, Padres, Giants. I was like Dodgers, that final team. Phillies will need to win the division in order to make the playoffs.
Zach, I get hit the lottery before the Phillies win the division. Zach,
let's talk about the last 10 games. 11-1 against the Reds, 6-2 against the Rays, 5-3 against the Rays. You win 3-2 against the Marlins. You lose 4-2 against the Marlins. You win 2-0 against the Marlins. You lose 9-6 against the Marlins. You win 6-2 against the Red Sox. You lose 4-3 against the Red Sox. You lose 11-3. You get shut out by Miami 6-0. I mean, this is just a shit show. Sorry for my language, but this is a disaster of an organization. It's broken from the top, and damn it, we knew it from the start of the year. John Middleton, Matt Klentak, all of these clowns. They have no idea what they're doing. Oh, Klentak's been moved around and is no longer general manager. What moves have they made significant this offseason besides re-signing JT? Highest paid catcher in baseball. You didn't get a new bullpen. Anything is better than last year, and that alone should be enough to make the playoffs. But damn it, the offense is not showing up consistently, and that's why I'm pissed off today.
You're finally mad. Zach, are you hitting the panic button? Are you hitting it?
There's a lot of injuries, but this team is still dysfunctional.
Let me tell you why.
It's significantly better than it's been last year. But Aaron Nola, a guy you should count on, inconsistent. Alec Boehm, a player that's supposed to rise.
He can't feel.
Horrible. Has been terrible. The defense has been horrible. Didi's been in and out of the lineup. JT in and out of the lineup. Bryce is indefinitely out of the lineup. Roman Quinn just tore his Achilles. It's not really missing much there, but of course we wish for a speedy recovery. Abdul Herrera is your best player. Talk about ethics and having a guy on the field that should or shouldn't be there. Abdul Herrera is your best player.
And he's a joke. Man. He is a joke.
Reese Hoskins having a nice May. He's batting .363 in May.
Oh, that doesn't matter. That really doesn't matter. You know what doesn't matter? Because it's not winning. It's not winning. I mean, hold on a second. No, answer this question for me. You played baseball before, right? At a competitive level, right?
I know.
What age did you start playing baseball?
Started playing when I was 4.
Okay. What position did you play?
Played everywhere, honestly, but I caught the majority of my time as a player.
Now you can fill a pop-up, right?
I would think so, yes.
So when you were 4 years old, you was able to fill a pop-up, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
And Zach was 4 years old, and Alec Boehm is in the major leagues, and he can't field a pop-up. Zach, you know what? You might as well just take his glove away. I mean, come on now. He can't field, for crying out loud. Oh, and let's talk about this glorified team. All right, well, your general manager, I love the guy to death, and Zach, I'm not going to talk bad about Joe Girardi because you know what? I owe Joe Girardi an apology for actually having to deal with this garbage. And Zach, your best player is a person who should or shouldn't be here. If you ask people that actually care about the game and know about what he did, Zach, you know how I feel about Abdul Herrera. I mean, he's just as great as Pennsylvania winners. All right, one day is snowing, one day is not. You never know. That's how good he's go. He's gone with the wind, Zach. And another thing too about this glorified pitching that we so raved about. Everybody told me it was going to be great this year. Your ace that you paid ace money is not looking like an ace. He's looking pretty much of you know what, Zach. I'm not going to say that word on the show, but your best pitcher is Zach Wheeler. He was wheeling and dealing his last start. Zach.
And they still lost the game. They still didn't get the runs.
Because he doesn't get runs. He had 10 strikeouts and still lost the game. Also, Zach, this bullpen, I mean, damn. Is Seranthony Dominguez ever going to come back? Is David Robinson even here? I mean, Jose Alvarado and Chris and Archie Bradley, they can't do it all. And is Hector actually going to help us for once in his lifetime? Are we not going to give it a run? Can we now see Brogdon for crying out loud?
He's not good. Why does he keep coming in?
You know, it's like Brogdon was like putting Mike Sky out there last night. Why? Why are you doing it? You lose 11-1 to the Cincinnati Reds. And they're not bad, ladies and gentlemen, but they're not great. They're not great. They weren't great last year. They barely squeaked into the playoffs. As I digress. Zach, you said, and I'm never letting this slide, you said they can be a playoff team. Now, regardless of the standings and where they stand and how bad and how underperformed the NL East has been this year, magically the Phillies making it to the playoffs. Do you really want to watch this garbage? Do you really want to watch it? I don't want to watch it, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Ladies and gentlemen, the last time the Phillies were good, and I wasn't upset about them, I didn't have a beard, and Zach didn't have a beard either. Ladies and gentlemen, we were in elementary school the last time the Phillies were good. We are about to graduate. Hold on, Zach. We're about to graduate high school in less than under a week. Oh, but we're supposed to have greatness. This is great. You spent $330 million on a guy that, I guess he's been all right. Defense looks great. JT Realmuto barely played any games this year, but crying out loud, you paid him. Sir Anthony Dominguez takes a late surgery. I don't know what the heck happened to this man. Whatever happened to Spencer Howard, you sent him back down. I mean, crap. You might have been better than what you got.
Spencer Howard, Mickey Moniak, Alec Bohm, all pretty much been failures to this point.
And Zach, remember who was the guy that came on here and said when Scott King was hitting the baseball very well, and when Alec Bohm was doing when Scott King was hitting the ball pretty well, and Mookie Betts was up there on the list, you should have traded Nick Pivetta and Scott Kingery, and you might have had a chance at Mookie Betts. Guess what? Mookie goes to LA, right? Zach, get this. Mookie goes to LA for who? Alex Verdugo. And that's the only person I remember in that trade. And what happens to Scott Kingery? He gets worse. He gets worse. I mean, what can go wrong will go wrong with the Phillies. Zach, I love going to Citizens Bank Park, right? I love going to Citizens Bank Park. Why? Because it's a beautiful ballpark. There's great people around. It's especially nice. It's a nice place in the summertime, and especially when you're doing the fireworks. But guess what, Zach? If you're asking me to go to Citizens Bank Park not to walk around, actually to watch the game, you couldn't pay me to do it. You couldn't pay me to go sit in my seat. There is not enough money in the world for me to go and sit down and watch that hot garbage, especially that is a day in and day out when you're losing 11-1 to the Cincinnati Reds, and you're supposed to be better. I mean, come and they're going to the playoffs, Zach, and they're going to – come on, man.
I'm not sure what they have to do at this point. They've been stuck in this circumstance for years. They're stuck in every way. They've been a below 500 team since 2012. Every year, they've been in the basement. They've been 500. I mean, the Rays have rebuilt since then. The Red Sox tanked, won a World Series, tanked again, and are now a playoff team since the last time the Phillies have been in the playoffs. They've done four things. They've tanked twice and they've won twice. But they've won once, and they're now looking like one of the best teams in baseball. I mean, like, was Fernando Tatis even alive when the Phillies last made the playoffs? I mean, we're going back now. We are going back where these guys were. He was in middle school probably. He's, 23, 24 years old? We're going back to times where these guys were in middle school last time the Phillies were in the playoffs. These guys are playing the Little League World Series before that. 22, he was 12. Little League World Series age. I mean, this is pathetic. This is a pathetic organization. They continue to have horrible thinking. The analytics department ruined everything. And frankly, I mean, the Eagles have been pretty functional. They won a Super Bowl.
Don't give me that. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. I don't want to hear that. Not today.
Relatively speaking, the Eagles are a much better organization than the Philadelphia Phillies have and ever will be.
And tell
That's
me when
debate for a different day.
We can argue that tomorrow if you want. But Zach, here's what I gotta say. When you got a guy in Bryce Harper, who was supposed to be the face, right? And this all happened in one offseason. I was like, oh my goodness, the Phillies want to win. You bring in Gene Segura, you bring in Bryce Harper, and you get JT Realmuto all in one season, all in one offseason, Zach. And then you turn into, and you still haven't performed. You spent all that money on absolutely nothing. Zach, let's go back. The Cubs won a World Series before the Phillies got back to the playoffs. It's like the Chicago White Sox became relevant again. They became relevant again. Really? The Baltimore Orioles almost went to the playoffs before you did again. Oh, and Zach, there's another thing too. The Athletics are respectable now. Toronto went to the playoffs last year. After destroying their team with Donaldson and the crew. I mean, is anybody else? I mean, everybody's been better than us. Texas was relevant at one point, and
they were in the World Series.
Exactly. Like I don't know what to do about this team. The fact is that this team is always going to be bad. It always will be. This team will never be good. I can't stand this team. I really can't. It's like, what? I want to know how bad this team really is. I want to set up our own high school baseball team, the senior team, or the varsity team versus this team, and I want to see who wins the 9-inning game. I want to see it. I would love to see it because my money's on our team. My money's on our team, not the Phillies. My money's on our team. I mean, you could take a bunch of 3-year-olds versus the Phillies, and 3-year-olds will win the game, and they don't even run the bases correctly. That's how bad this team is. Alec Bohm won't even be able to feel a small little ground ball to him because he just Zach, I can't. Am I allowed to switch teams? Can I do that? Can I really? I mean, I'm ashamed. Zach, you bought a Phillies hat the last time we went hat shopping, and guess what? You're like, are you gonna buy it? I said no. I said they got prove it first. I'd rather wear this hat every day for the rest of my life than wear anything that represent. This is all you get. This is all you get. And I don't even want to like this. I don't like this no more. I don't use it.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty miserable. For those out there who want to know, last season was 60 games. We're almost at 60 games, and they're below 5. They're 25 and 29. I can't do math that quickly, but Google can. So that's a total of 53 games. 7 games left, and we'll see if they're better off than they were last year. I'll say this. I'll leave it off on this. They play the Reds tonight with Nola on the mound. Reds tomorrow, and then 3 games against the Nationals. That's 5 games. Make a push. Get hot before Harper gets back. They play Atlanta next after that in Atlanta. But they do play Atlanta the following series in Philadelphia, actually. Then they play the Yankees, Dodgers, Giants. Nah, it gets hard from here. There's no coming back from this. This is their only chance for the rest of the year to get hot.
Zach, get hot? The only thing that's going to get hot is the weather outside at the ballpark. That's the only thing that's getting hot. It's not this team. This team is so cold. Zach, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't want to watch this. I really don't. They should shut the Phillies down. The governor, or excuse me, not the governor, the mayor of Philadelphia should ban the Phillies from Philadelphia. They should ban them until they actually want to win games. I said the same thing about the Flyers. I said the same thing about the Sixers a long time ago. They should be banned. It's like add them to my list. So far, them and the Falcons, and I guess I had to take the Knicks off. They should be banned from their home state. They really should be. Play somewhere else.
Quite possibly. Wrapping up today's show, as reported just now by John Clark on NBC, the Sixers doctors are optimistic about Joel Embiid's long-term playoff health, which means he'll probably miss the next game at most. Their plane broke down last night. Apparently, they did not. They had to take buses and got in at 6 a.m. I'm kind of shocked they would have flew back from D.C. though, but usually I figure it's a bus trip. But they got back late. Tests weren't done until early this morning, and they just haven't had time to really analyze it yet. But things are going to look too good, aren't going to look too bad for them. Hopefully, the Sixers can finish up the series tomorrow. We'll be back to break it all down. Look, it's been great to be with all of you today. We covered a lot of information today. We're going to continue with it. Gavin, any final statements before we do wrap up today's show?
Get some popcorn, ladies and gentlemen. Your boys are back. We're about to be done high school, as I noted. The summer's coming. Me and him, we're gonna have a lot of arguments, especially around my birthday time. It's gonna be the finals time, and if his best friend somehow makes it, I'm not gonna be too happy. That might ruin my birthday, Zach. But
maybe have a big day on your birthday.
It is, but Zach, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited. This summer's gonna be fun, and you never know. We might get into a real fight on the show one day.
We'll have to do a few in-person shows. I'll have them right next to me here. We'll have to figure out some fun things to do. But hey, it's been fun so far. We are coming up on a year. It's been great so far.
It's a year Sunday, right?
It's going to be a fun one.
It's a year Sunday, right?
A year on Tuesday, next Tuesday, June 8th.
Next Tuesday. All right. Well, we'll be here for sure.
That we will be. For sure. I know that the week after that I will be away, but we'll still make it work. Maybe we'll do some shows from the beach and finally getting out of the house. But maybe we'll do a show from the beach. That'd be fun. If I can get some internet. If I can get some internet, we'll do a show from the beach. But hey, thanks again, everybody. We appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it today, and have a good one.
Have a good one, everybody. And mental health is a serious thing.
It is. If you did not get a chance to watch the first 20 minutes of our show, recommend it. We'll take a day as well to dedicate to it. But thank you again, everybody, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Have a good one, everybody. Let's go Sixers, man.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of our videos.